And welcome inside the Backstage Pass, a Monday, brand new week of shows, and of course, a big slate of shows coming up this week with some great talent featured here on the Backstage Pass, a grand slam of sports, music, and entertainment. Presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out at bangtail.com and also the CadenGordonShow.com, today's best country mix, and that is Kayden, the CadenGordonShow.com. If you missed that, it's at the bottom of the screen there for all the work that our sponsors do out there. Of course, you can catch us KKTC True Country out there 10 Mountain Time on the great station out there in New Mexico, and of course up into Colorado and Taos and up into Pueblo, and also hightidecountry.net, and always live right now at the sportsguyspodcast.com. Pleased to welcome on my featured artist of the week, and a brand new week in a single called Here Without You, the remake of Three Doors Down, which is one of those classic rock anthem songs out there. Dylan Wolfe to the program. Dylan, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
It's good. It's a little rainy down here in Texas. I look out the window just in my studios, and I'm like, but you know what? I'm inside. That's outside, so I'm in the comfort of my studios, which are great. I'm not getting I'm staying dry out here right now. This winter weather.
Right. Yeah, it's tough to do anymore too, for sure. It's just been a mess last couple of weeks. So
Yeah, I know. Like Nashville was telling me, I got a call from a friend of mine up there, and they said they got like 10 inches of snow last week or something. They were snowed in. Crazy.
yeah, it's a pile of it. And of course, the temperatures were going up to like 40 degrees, and then they were freezing, getting down to the negatives. So it was like all that snow was melting and turning to ice. It was
This
horrific.
winter weather is crazy, man. Well, I'll tell you what, hey, for those folks, especially new in the market where I'm at, KKTC True Country, and for those listening for the first time, tell us about Dylan Wolfe, the artist, and of course, when music, man, kind of took over, and I guess when the bug kind of bit out there.
Yeah, man. I was like 22 years old and started kind of picking around on the guitar. I thought it was something that maybe I had a knack for, and doing some open mics. And it's crazy how one thing led to another, for sure, because this wasn't a quick journey by any means, and things didn't really fall into place for me uh,
Mm-hmm.
easily. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, just keeping the right people in my corner, and keeping that people just, the right people, I guess it would be, that kept me going for the longest time. And I played in a duo, like, country cover band
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years, and then him and I decided to part ways. He had to do his own thing, and so I kind of took off and just worked on my socials, and continued to write songs, and continued to just network, and meet people, and eventually it was about say about 2 years ago. Drew Baldridge is who I started
Mm-hmm.
kind of working with. He kind of took me under his wing, and we wrote a song. We wrote "Wasting My Time" together,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the first song that really popped off on social media for me, and got 3 or 4 million views on TikTok, and it just streamed like crazy, and one thing kind of led to another. We put out a few more songs. Something to Talk About did really well,
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of dove a little bit deeper into, like, that's when the publishing thing kind of happened for me.
Mm-hmm.
Drew brought me in, and introduced me to some people at Riser, and we all thought it was a really good fit, and signed the deal, and now I've just been writing songs like crazy, and you know coming into, I would say, last year. I mean, I think I turned in 50 some songs,
Wow.
just in the first year, and so it helped out a lot. I co-wrote a song on Bailey Zimmerman's
Mm-hmm.
EP called "From the Fall," and me and Bailey are really really close friends, and that definitely doesn't hurt my background any. So, um, but but yeah, man, me and Drew, we was talking. He was like, "I think we should do a cover song." He was like, "So
Mm-hmm.
he said, you go pick a cover song that you think will do well," and there was a few songs that we actually was wanting to choose from, but Josh Ross just had done Iris, and Nate Smith, and Ryan Waters at the Chasing Cars, and
Mm-hmm.
so we were trying to stay away from all that, and then that's when we kind of landed on the Three Doors Down song, and man, that was insane. We posted when we first posted about it, the TikTok, I think it was 6 or 7 million views. The
Ooh.
the Instagram was 12 or 13 million views, and my following went through the roof, and really started opening some doors. I think it's been out about 3 weeks now. It's streamed over
Hmm.
300,000 times. So as an
That's great.
independent artist with no playlisting really hardly at all, it's pretty good.
Very good, no doubt, too, as well. Those numbers kind of pop up, too. Like you said, independent without the numbers out there, or the playlist or something like that, just to find you and give you the follow, too. I love that one, too, because it sets that classic rock anthem I mentioned there, the way Three Doors Down put their spin on it, too, and was a huge hit for them, too, at the same time. And that's cool that you landed on that, too. And I'll tell you this, man, the vocals had to be as fun as getting in the studio and like putting your spin on it, too, with the instrumentation and the
Oh
production
yeah.
and seeing it come to life. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I did it with Nick Schwartz, which is Drew's
Hmm.
producer. Nick produced I Thought Wrong and Gone with Whiskey, and actually wrote both of those with Drew too. And it was just he kind of let me have free range on it, and I got really comfortable working with Nick, and he would help me talk me through things, and there was a few spots where I was like, I don't want to just come out and make this track exactly like Three Doors Down did. I want to do some different stuff, so the song has its own moments,
Hmm.
and so we sit in there for, I don't know, 2.5 hours, and after we got in just a bunch of takes, there at that end when we kind of do something a little different with the chorus. He was like, "Man, you just killed the vocal on this." He said,
Hmm.
"This is great." He said, "I can't wait to get this back." And we waited about 3 weeks, got it back, and we were all just super pumped and excited about it,
Hmm.
knowing that it was gonna do well. So, and of course it did. I mean, it was a mission success. So,
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it too. And I love the fact that your dedicated fans out there too love it. And like I said, just to kind of put your spin on something like that too, which is, I mean, a huge, huge rock anthem out there too. And congratulations on doing that as an independent artist. And I guess that kind of shapes you. Talk about that, musical influences growing up and what that did for you. Not just country, but you got like a really grit and growl to your voice too. Was it some of that classic rock, maybe that rock to the into the maybe '90s that did it for you and kind of shaped you as an artist?
yeah, I grew up, listening. My two favorite bands of all time was Goo Goo Dolls and Matchbox 20. I still am obsessed with Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20,
Hmm.
and I cover their songs and stuff at my shows along with my original stuff, and it's funny because, like, from the regional standpoint, a lot of my friends and people who's watched me grow over the years, they all kind of give me a hard time about this because I always played 3 a.m. because for the longest time it was one of the only songs I knew how to play on guitar. So uh, so now, stepping in front of 12 people and playing that, and then stepping in front of 2,500 people, and you hear that down da down da down, it's 3 a.m. I must be lonely. Everybody just kind of like looks at me and they're just like giving me a hard time. But yeah, I mean, I've always loved that '90s alternative sound,
Hmm.
and Hinder. Everybody
Oh
says
yeah,
I sound like the lead singer of Hinder.
yeah.
I love Hinder, and I love Shine Down and Three
Oh
Doors
yeah.
Down. Brad Arnold actually reached out to me after the song came out,
Really?
and said
Okay.
that yeah, said that it sounded great, and congratulated me, and was just a super cool dude about it, and that's how like the song was a success, because you if it ever gets to the original artist, a popular song like that, if it ever gets to them,
Hmm.
you definitely seek their approval on it,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know
Yeah.
and so to get that from him, you know, days before releasing it, I mean, it was an incredible feeling for sure, and it was a good moment for me, and just all in all, just really excited about the fact that we did it. We picked the right song, and it just couldn't have went, any better in my opinion.
No, it really did too. And for, like I said, lead singer to reach out to you and say you did it justice, man. That's awesome too. And actually, you kind of hit a memory for me and struck a chord. Speaking of Hinder, actually, this is probably about a couple of years ago during the whole cycle of my show. Cody Hansen, the drummer for Hinder, actually came on with me, and we did like a little segment too. We got to talk about the band and how long they've been around and recap that too. So I could see where the comparison is too, as well, from Hinder at the same time too, along with Three Doors
Right.
Down. And these are great classic rock hits because you're providing your own sound out there. It's fresh, it's new to me, and I love it because you got your own thing kind of going on as an artist. I really can't say you sound like anybody. You just sound like Dylan Wolfe, and I like how that's very authentic out there too as well. We got to take a quick time out. We're going to come back and talk about one called "Here for the Girls," which I loved a lot too as well. When that came out too in 2022. More with Dylan Wolfe here as we're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and the Caden Gordon Show. KKTC.com. Of course, today's best country mix out of Boston, Massachusetts. Quick timeout. More on the Backstage Pass. It is KKTC True Country 99.9. Of course, HighTideCountry.net. Coming back. Stay tuned.
The Caden Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at thecadengordonshow.com. Again, that is thecadengordonshow.com.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with Dylan Wolfe on the program. Check it out there too. And latest single across all those digital platforms, Here Without You, the great Three Doors Down track to it. He put a great spin on that too. Been talking about that a lot here on the show. KKTC True Country 99.9, Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado. Thank you guys for listening. Weeknights, 7 nights a week actually, and weekends at 10 Mountain Time to all the great shows we feature of all the great artists, and of course HighTideCountry.net, and always the Sports Guys Podcast.com. And I had a little chance to check out a little Instagram from Dylan. We'll talk some sports here in a little bit as we get toward rapid fire. St. Louis Cardinals jersey I got to see out there from a show they just put together and taken the stage here. Let's talk about Here for the Girls. This came out last August, I believe it was, or I should say August 2022 is when it came out. How did this one kind of come together? It's a good feel of this one, and this kind of portrays a very good story.
I wrote that with Gavin Lucas, Sean Rogers, and Ben Nation, and that Ben was actually the my partner, the duo project that we had going on, and the song was we were trying to find something to write that was just fun for like just live shows. It was really how we was trying to come about with it, and then we were going to release that song as a duo, and I don't know if you've heard my song "The Way I See It."
Yeah,
Ben features. Yeah, Ben and I wrote that together. He features on that song, but so that was the game plan, and we I don't know, we just kind of had this like cool little vibe going with the guitar, and it was a simple chorus to write, you know. but you know, so I actually as we was going through that separation point, and I was trying to figure out what my next move was going to be, those songs was kind of sitting in the pocket, and I already had my vocal on the song for the work tape, and listened back to it and thought that we needed something to release, and we kind of spiced that up and put a different vocal on it, and just decided to see what it would do, and it didn't do great, which at that point, you know, I didn't have 1.5 million followers, and my numbers weren't really streaming, you know, super great. So it's definitely something that I probably need to go back and revisit, and maybe try to get it hopping on social media a little bit more, because I actually have a lot of people request that, and we don't play it that often. So, but yeah, it was supposed to just be a little fun party anthem, and I think the goal was achieved.
Definitely a fun little party anthem. It makes some of the best country songs out there. And then November 2022, you guys had put out and released something to talk about. Give us kind of an update on that one too as well. And I actually enjoyed the lyrical version of this, and of course the song in general. And thought you guys did a great job in the studio with that one.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites, and it's kind of ironic how that went down, because the I come from a little town, you know, and where they either support you, or they just don't like you, and I don't like to complain too much, because I feel like I definitely get a little bit of support, you know, from the people that I care about, and but I was dealing with a lot at the time about just listening to people, just, you know, hearing, did you hear about what this person said, or you know, and it always bothered me, and I'm sitting there, and I was actually at Bailey's house, and me and Gavin were sitting there, and I was like, hey, I got this line or whatever, I had this idea of a song, and I want to write it. And he was like, okay, I got some time.
Hmm.
So we wrote the song in like 30 minutes,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good to me." And I was like, yeah. I was like, probably needs a bridge because the song wasn't very long. And I was like, well, I had this thing written down here. I was like, um, something to talk about, like, am I lost or found? And it's a shame I'm looking thin, running with the wrong crowd. And I said it really fast, and he goes, sounds good to me. So I put it onto a work tape. I sent it in, and I wasn't gonna cut it
Really?
because I didn't think people would interpret it. Um, I thought that maybe it would be interpreted into a negative way,
Hmm.
and my producer Sean Rogers at the time, he was like, I think we should put it out, and it
Hmm.
actually went crazy viral, and is actually my number one streaming song.
Wow, interesting on that too. And I loved as we got into last year, there was another one that came out called "I Thought Wrong." I know we're battling all this sinus stuff right now with these allergies, ever changing. Whether you and I both are on medication and all that spray, so if you hear us kind of pause there, like I said, we apologize for that too. We're battling all this sinus infection stuff. But "I Thought Wrong" was another one that you guys released. I believe it was May of last year when that one came out. Tell us all about that one.
Yeah, I wrote that one with Drew, Baldridge, and Gavin, and that was actually the first song that we wrote coming into the new project. Of Drew kind of represented me and kind of taking the reins on what I was going to be putting out next, and kind of helping me filter through it. But we wrote that, me, him, and Nick Schwartz, the one that
Hmm.
produced Here Without You. He produced I Thought and Gone with Whiskey. We were just trying to come up with something that felt like me, and that was another one of those songs that we were excited about it at first, and then kind of steered away from it. And then Nick was like, "Let me put a track to this.
Hmm.
Let me get it. Let me make it more than an acoustic guitar, and then tell me what you think." And we went ahead and we did that. And after we got done, and the guys that played on it, I mean, it sounded huge. And we was like, yeah, I think we need to decide. We decided to go with that one instead. So, and it's done really well as well. So I think it's streamed a little over 1 million times.
Wow.
And it was my first song, releasing with an actual distributor with Stem,
Hmm.
and first song releasing with as part of Drew's team. So, and it was a good one. It was it was another one of those songs I probably need to revisit. We do play it live quite a bit, so
Hmm.
definitely something that I definitely need to revisit and get it flowing a little bit better on socials.
One of the things, Dylan, a lot of people don't see is, of course, the challenges that go on behind the scenes. Whether you get a publishing deal, a record deal, or you're fighting this as an independent artist, and you're kind of going your way. And I remember one time I was talking to Cody Jenks on the air, and he says, "Man, you can like my music for what it is, and if you don't, I'm not going to take it personal. Go change the station or listen to something else." That's why streaming is really taking over. Talk about those challenges that any artist, male or female, can face out there too, and maybe some of the things that the fans don't see that go on behind the scenes that is very challenging.
Yeah. So when you're going to pick a song, to release, there's there's a lot more that goes into it. For one, we put out a song, and if it doesn't go viral, in a sense, it costs a lot of money to put a song out, a lot, and unless you're doing a lot of the backlining stuff yourself, which most artists aren't,
Hmm.
um, and you don't have a label backing you to put it out, you can't just put out, any song that has a cool tune to it. I mean, you need to go, and let it get traction. And then once it gets traction, you got to go wait 4 weeks. They want you to wait 4 weeks before you can ever release it. And we catch a lot of grief from our fans, like, just put it out, quit teasing it, just put it out already. It's like, we can't,
Hmm. Yeah.
and we have to post about it 2 or 3 times a week, and everybody just keeps seeing the same clip or hearing the same clip, and we can't just post it once and just say, coming out July 3rd, and then just leave it alone. I mean, we have to keep it shoved in your face. And then when it releases, you always think, you would think, us, like Here Without You got 38 million views on it all across all the platforms. It's streamed 300,000 times. You want those views to turn into streams, but just, I mean, it doesn't.
Hmm.
You know, People forget that the video they saw, they may save it. It may be a month before they go, I wonder if that song's out yet or not, before they go check it out.
Hmm.
So, and I think that gets to a lot of artists, just you get their hopes up, and then it doesn't go, exactly how maybe they wanted or that they planned. And man, you got to keep pushing it, keep just putting good content out, and keep, and I'm not the best at it either. I could be a
Sure.
lot better about it.
Mhm.
Drew, she's somebody's daughter. He released that, and the day he released it, he posted the video, and the video went viral and got 17 million views.
Man.
And that was the day it released. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more perfect moment, more perfect timing.
Mhm.
And then that song did translate into it because everybody went and listened to it.
No doubt. Yeah. And I tell you, these, what I love about the industry, how it's changed. We mentioned streaming and how much it's changed since I grew up on 90s country. So I loved all that 90s feel to it, and interviewed a lot of the great artists from that era back in the day who paved the way for a lot of young artists today. And we're starting to see probably a little bit of that music kind of come back. I think that you've got a little bit of just momentum going into it. Now you see more females kind of out there making their stand in country music. The fire that, Lainey Wilson's been on fire. She's hot right now. And of course, all the great artists, Ashley McBride and Carly Pierce, and that too. And I couldn't really remember a decade, maybe the early part of the 2000s, like the Y2K country or something like that. And, the 58 Prime Country on Sirius XM when I get to listen to that too. But man, this era of stars right now, this industry is pretty healthy, isn't it? Would you agree?
It's definitely a game changer with the way social media, especially with everybody is just battling one another, like not people or artists or anything. I'm going to apologize. My phone was about to die, and if I didn't
You're good. You're good, brother.
get this thing on charge quick, I was going to lose
Get
you.
charged.
But
You're good.
I mean, they're always competing with one another and just jumping on board with that, like Facebook. Man, everybody just kind of forgot about Facebook. And my Spotify for Artists told me 2 million of my streams came from Facebook. I had 9,000 followers on there starting the year, and I'm almost to 1 million on there now.
Mm-hmm.
And my reels are going crazy on there. And I think for any artist, they should never, they should use all platforms because you never know what's going to pop off. And
Sure.
And just trying to stay consistent, good quality videos, nothing that's blurry. All the social media, the less is more. The more simple you can make it, the more you can just like words right in front of you, so that people can just watch it. It catches their attention, and it make a good clean video. People are going to want to sit and watch it versus someone just standing there in front of their camera. And sometimes that's what you got to do because you don't have access to that. But just like I said, just staying consistent with it and continuing to post about it, is basically all you can do as an independent artist.
Yep.
And hope and pray that, with God's will, that it's going to take off. And I mean, that's basically all you can do with it.
That's it. And like I said, continue to put out great content, great songs, and somebody will eventually notice. A few fans get on, word of mouth spreads, and hopefully it catches viral out there and catches a few people's attention out there. A lot of listeners out there who make it possible to do even a show like this every day. No doubt about it, too. We'll take a final timeout coming up. Rapid fire here. America's fastest growing game show, even though it's not. We'll just call it that. Just have fun. We'll ask you a series of funny questions. I'm sure the St. Louis Cardinals will come up in conversation there, too, as I'm just ready for baseball season. I'm kind of over football, not having a dog in the fight right now since my team on my cap, the Arizona Cardinals, didn't make the playoffs, and of course the Cowboys got embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers. But we'll come back, probably get into some football talk, maybe a little baseball, and a whole lot more here. It is the Backstage Pass presented by the CadenGordonShow.com, Kayden, up in Boston, Massachusetts. Today's best country mix, and our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, Bangtail.com. You get your order in now for great whiskey out there, the official whiskey of the Backstage Pass. Final segment with Dylan Wolfe coming up here. Stay tuned.
The Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix, is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thekaydenGordonshow.com for more information on the show.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with Dylan Wolfe, the final segment, the Backstage Pass, again presented by our friends over at the CadenGordonShow.com. Today's best country mix up in Boston, Massachusetts. Check him out. And, of course, Bangtail Whiskey out there, KKTC True Country, 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado. And, of course, out there, HighTideCountry.net, and always at the SportsGuysPodcast.com. So let's have a little fun. And I love this because I know we're going to have you back on when some of the new music comes out. Here Without You is the current single, of course, the remake of Three Doors Down's classic rock anthem out there too. Big hit for them. Dylan said it's gone viral out there for him, so definitely check it out across all those digital platforms. I saw a St. Louis Cardinals jersey at a show you guys did. Now, is that your baseball team?
It's kind of.
All right.
We was playing at Ballpark Village, so that's
Okay.
that's St. Louis Busch Stadium. That's
okay.
what it is. But and I'm from this area. Growing up, I was a Yankee fan.
Okay.
And big Derek Jeter fan. And I just yeah, I catch a lot of hectics for that. But whenever Derek Jeter retired, actually, I went over to watch him in St. Louis, and he didn't play that day. But the Cardinals players got on the big screen and talked about how much they loved Derek Jeter and just how cool he was. And then Derek came out on the field, and the entire St. Louis Cardinals stadium stood up and gave him a round of applause. And I was like, okay. I was like, if I've got to jump ship, I'm going to jump ship over here. So that's kind of how that came about.
Well, of course, one of the all-time greats, Albert Pujols, the first ballot Hall of Famer, just retired and hung up the spikes. And, of course, now he's going to get in and waiting his turn in the next 5 years or so when he's first ballot. And speaking of that Hall of Fame ballot, I got to tell you, I grew up an Astros fan, and I'm still an Astros fan even today. And this is like the glory years we're going through, 7 straight of the American League Championship Series appearances and, of course, 2 championships. And you say whatever you want to say about the other one. But, hey, 22 was legit, 17. Everybody was doing it in baseball. So at some point, you take it for what it's worth and move on there too. It's still a valid championship. They didn't take it away from us either. And we got, pretty harsh penalty for it there too. The Hall of Fame announcements are getting announced tomorrow. I know Adrian Beltre is going in. It looks like Joe Mauer, the catcher from the Twins, will be going in too as well. And the one that I like, and I'm sure, of course, growing up a Yankee fan too, you saw a lot of him. And here's a guy that was back in the day, kind of threw lights out against him, Billy Wagner. I am excited to see this lefty get in the Hall of Fame. And I know there could be some 75% of the votes, but do you pay attention to that too? And of course, each year it comes around once a year for the Hall of Fame.
I don't. And actually, I would say by the time I started following, when I started really following the New York Yankees, like they had like AJ Burnett and Andy Pettit, and I think CC Sabathia had came in, and Posada was catching at the time. We had A-Rod.
Oh yeah.
And he went through his stage of juicing and all that cool stuff, just hitting so many home runs. I loved it. But then we had who we have? We had Cano, Teixeira. I watched a little bit when they had Hideki and Johnny Damon when he went from Red Sox. So that was kind of the era where I was watching. I never really got to watch the actual greats with New York. So with the exception of Derek Jeter, I think he's.
Oh yeah, I mean that's Mr. November, you can say, Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, and of course the other name I was mentioning, they're expecting right now. It's just preliminary, but Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Billy Wagner, and the other one's the great first baseman, University of Tennessee, former quarterback Todd Helton, to get in with 75% of the votes. And of course, he had a great career. Anybody that plays in Coors Field can drive the ball out of the ballpark and hit 1 million home runs. So Todd Helton could get in tomorrow. That guy was an Astro killer. Now I was going to flip the script on you football wise. Do you have a dog in the fight? And if you do, or even if you don't, is it the Tennessee Titans? What football team or teams do you get into?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite team's the team that's going to be beating Kansas City. You know what I mean? My dad's a big Cowboys fan. I struggle watching a team just basically be the best team in the entire NFL and then first round of playoffs act like a bunch of third graders. So, no, I was a big bandwagon, man. I was a big Peyton Manning fan for forever. Okay. So I went with Broncos with him, and then he retired, and I didn't really know who I was going to watch. And then Tom Brady. Ironically enough, I hated Tom Brady because he was usually the one that broke everybody's hearts in the Super Bowl. But he said that he was going to go to the Bucks, who was the worst team in the NFL, and win a Super Bowl, and he did. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty badass. And he retired, so I don't really follow anybody much anymore.
Mhm.
Joe Burrow, I think he's pretty cool,
Mhm.
but right now, man, I'm just my if I could pick someone to win it, it would be Detroit because I mean, those guys have just been battling to stay in it, and you know here they are. But man, it's going to be sweet to watch Baltimore beat Kansas.
I hope so.
I'm
I
gonna
hope
be,
the Tom Brady stuff got old fast, the dynasties, and I'm hoping Baltimore can defeat Kansas City this weekend in Baltimore, where it's going to be cold. And of course, I know I still had Buffalo winning that game. Of course, I try to play a little bit when I can here and have a little something on it to make it a little extra fun. But at the same time, for me, it's always fun to kind of see. I mean, it's still Patrick Mahomes. It's still executing to win, to finish the job, and of course, finish that ball game. And that's one thing that they're used to, playoff battle tests. You got to feel for a guy like Josh Allen too, as well. Being in the league this many years, and now, of course, losing again to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I'm with you on Baltimore. I kind of want to see Detroit win it, just because Dan Campbell fits that franchise and what the Ford family has done for a lot of years to resurrect that franchise in the last 3 years. I mean, here's a team that just from the doldrums all the way back up to the top. They built it the right way through free agency, getting Goff and through the draft. So kind of rooting for the Lions to win it all. Hey, give me some hobbies away from music. When you're not doing music, what do you enjoy doing? Hunting, fishing?
I mean, that's really all I get done anymore. It seems like for the last, it sucks, man. It seems like for the last 6 or 7 years, I love to golf. I do.
Okay.
I'm not good at it. I can drive the piss out of a ball, but uh, I like the excuse that it gives us to play a sport that we're not good at and drink beer and hang out with friends. And I don't like playing with people who are actually good at golf. That's not fun unless they're on my team. Then it's kind of fun. But uh, but yeah, I like to cut loose, drink beer, and hang out. But most of my time is focused on doing music.
No music,
I
no doubt about it.
don't really have much time to do much else.
All right, give me some of those favorite eating restaurants to eat at in Nashville when you're kind of in and around the area. What types of food and where do you like to go? What side of town?
Um, Local Taco was always a good place for me, just because they had like super badass margs,
Mm-hmm.
and they had just like really just like cool Nashville hot chicken tacos and things like that. Um, there's like I'm pretty simple. I do like the wing. I love wings, Wingstop,
Oh yeah.
and like I do a lot of Taco Bell,
Hey, nothing wrong.
a lot of Subway.
There you go. That's
You
hey.
gotta understand, man. I'm from Southern Illinois, so we don't really have a whole lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up working in I worked in the oil field for my dad for 8 years, and a lot of times we only ate at gas stations and things like that. So like you get accustomed to that, and then like now everything is a lot cheaper here. So when you go to Nashville, they're like, yeah, that steak's $147. Like, give me the fries and the chicken nuggets. Thanks.
I only have enough for the side. Sorry, I can't do the.
I mean,
Man,
I don't know if I just have such a hard time paying just a ridiculous amount of
Mm-hmm.
money for food that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Wendy's chili cheese fries are $3.82, and they're fantastic.
They're I'm with you on that too, man. Whatever you catch, whatever you do, like I said, whatever's cheap these days, dude. I'll tell you, even the grocery store. I just was there today, and I got me one of those new George Foreman little electric indoor the grills that you just plug in the wall and get after it too. The big colossal, they're kind of giant shrimp. That's what they call them, like a white shrimp from the Gulf down here. It's like $6.97 a pound, so like 2 pounds was like near $15-$16. I was like, man, it's just highway robbery when it comes to a seafood market, even at like an HEB or a Kroger or something. But I'm going to make them tonight too. And I was like, I'm going to try to, I don't know, eat a little bit healthier here in 2024. But I just like grilled shrimp. Plus, like the Foreman grill is supposed to be better for you. So I just went ahead and paid for them. And I couldn't, moan about it.
Right. I love to cook. I cook like crazy. So that's definitely, I guess it's a fun hobby for me is cooking. But I, Yeah, and everything's like everything's getting so expensive. Like even McDonald's is, you get a couple of cheeseburgers and a French fry and a Coke, and it's like $28. But even the grocery store, I seen this thing, and I mean when I say I pissed myself laughing, it was a picture of this like groceries on a counter, and it didn't look like much, and it said, "Here I show you $150 worth of groceries," and below it is a comment that says, "I can get this down to about 50 or 60 in self checkout." And I mean, I lost it laughing.
I love it.
I
That's
can,
good.
I can get this down about 50 or $60 in self checkout.
Self checkout. That is funny. We'll lose it off the air. We'll lose some more with that one. That's good stuff right there. Hey, give me the first or the title of it, or maybe the song itself could be a cover. First time you stepped behind a microphone, what song did you sing?
3 a.m.
There you go. Look at that.
Matchbox.
I like Matchbox 20. Love that.
Yep.
Man, I love this. I love him as an artist. He's the real deal out there, authentic as all the artists here on the Backstage Pass. The current single, Here Without You, across all those digital platforms. It's viral. Make sure you go download, check it out, and continue that ever-growing social media out there. Brother, hope to catch up in Nashville. If you're there at Country Radio Seminar, we'll be there broadcasting live from the Omni Hotel February 28th to March 3rd, March 1st, March 2nd, somewhere in there. Presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and the Caden Gordon Show. And of course, if you guys want a sponsorship, throw it at me too, is right now, because we're offering one-time deals. Give us a call. Of course, the number is embedded here on the screen. If I see you there, hell, let's go grab us a little hot chicken sandwich or something with the great folks at Riser. And man, I sure appreciate you doing this. And hey, man, you're always welcome back here on the program.
I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to being back on it.
You got it. Dylan Wolfe out there across all those digital platforms tomorrow. A critically acclaimed songwriter, Mary McGinnis, going to stop by. And also, he won The Voice last year. He's got a great voice. Bryce Leatherwood, new song called The Finger. If you hadn't heard that song, you'll get the gist of it as we talk about that with Bryce Leatherwood coming up tomorrow, too, as well. Again, thanks to our sponsors, of course, KKTC, True Country 99.9, also HighTideCountry.net, and powered by the Sports Guys, podcast.com. We'll see you tomorrow on the Backstage Pass Double Dip tomorrow. Until then, God bless. Have a great night and stay warm through all this winter weather. We'll see you soon.